Okay, so some people out there might be interested in figuring out what the process is to take your flopper, which might be set up for Tahitian like this, and flip it around so it becomes Hawaiian style on the bottom. The process is pretty simple. You're just going to need a few tools. Before you do it, you want to make sure that you order yourself some flopper pins that are the right diameter of the hole. And the flopper pins that I like have drilled holes in the end, so when you mushroom them out, it's a little bit easier. So the length of these is a little bit longer than I need for this thickness shaft. This is a 6.5 mil shaft on a small gun, but these will work for 7 millimeters as well. So we're going to go ahead and grind off the existing shaft, and we're going to use a pin to punch it through, and the back end of a nail or rivet, and just a small hammer, and then you need a small grinder. So first we'll remove the shaft from the trigger mechanism, and we're just going to go ahead and grind off the side here that has been pounded and leave the large side behind. So all I've done here is just ground that down so it's flush with the flopper itself, but I haven't gone too deep into the flopper, maybe just 0.001 10,000th of an inch or so, and then I buff that out. So now I'm just low enough where I can pop the rivet out. So you'll open your vise from completely closed to just barely open so that it holds the shaft in place. It's nice to have something supporting it from the back. Make sure that the flopper itself isn't being held in from underneath. Take your punch, center it, give it a good whack. At this stage, the flopper may have already dropped out, but you can see it's still in there a little bit. So you can go ahead and tighten up your vise onto the pin itself and just give it a little bit of a bend, and out it comes. So you have your flopper, and now you have your shaft with the hole, and nothing was pushed too hard, so everything should be straight. Toss the old pin. Get your new pin, orient your shaft so that you don't put it on the wrong side a second time. Put your flopper on. Drop your pin in, and you can see there's still a significant amount of space that I would have to pound down from that pin to get it flush. So I'm going to grind about half of that off. With this shaft, I just don't need that much. Okay, now you can see I have maybe a 1/16 of an inch remaining, and at this point I'm going to use the flat portion of my vise here, and I'm just going to start rounding the edges of that pin. The key to this is taking your time. You don't want to hit it one time too hard and bend the pin, because then it'll change how the flopper's tuned in different positions as that pin rolls around. So take your time so you don't bend the shaft of the pin, but you want to mushroom the outside. Periodically, go ahead and check it. So at this point, it's still not tuned. It's still really floppy. Still floppy, keep going. Just check it periodically. Okay, now we're starting to see that it's tuned. Actually, that's perfect. You want that flopper to go down when you tap it, but you want it to stop about 1 inch to 1.5 inches away from the shaft itself and engage in that tension zone, so that when you shoot a fish, that'll stay open. Picture perfect. Simple as that. Reset your flopper, change floppers. You can even drill a hole if you want back here and put a stinger flopper, put a second one on. You could have a double flopper setup. So it's nice to be able to do some of this stuff yourself, get off-the-shelf factory products, do small modifications to make it perfect for the way you like to spear. For me, flopper on the bottom is the way to go. Doesn't get in my line of sight when I'm shooting, unlike that. And I can tune it so that it's engaging when it hits the fish.